I'm going to demonstrate how the interactive online Shakuhachi fingering chart that can be found on my website can be used. The reason why I wrote the fingering chart, or put together the fingering chart, the application, is because with the typical fingering chart that I was using, I found that when I wanted to look up a particular note, it was taking me longer to look up the note than I really wanted to. And so I thought, there's got to be an easier way. And so I came up with the fingering chart. I provided a direct link to the chart at the bottom, in the description at the bottom of this video. You can also get to it from my homepage, shakuhachi.atspace.cc, and clicking on Interactive Fingering Chart. And when you get there, you'll see that there's a little web application here. Here's the section that shows the fingering. 5 holes, the top one being the thumb hole, the index finger hole, and so on down to the bottom hole on the shakuhachi. There's 3 radio buttons, one for the first register, Otsu, one for the second register, or Kan, and one for the third register, Daikon. I also have a drop-down selection list for the Japanese note name, the Western note name, and also the shakuhachi length. The default for the shakuhachi length is 1.8 because that's the most common length. It's kind of the standard length. Now, the way you use the chart is, say you're going through and reading some music and you see a character that you don't recognize. And say it's this one right here. This one, I already know that it's for chi, but I'll use this for demonstration purposes. So I'll click on it. And not only does it give me the fingering for chi, with the thumb hole and index finger hole closed, but it also gives me the Japanese note name, chi, the Western note that sounds when you finger that note, A, and other things that I can do with this chart is that I can see what it is in the Kan register. And of course, these are the notes in Kan. And here for Daikon, the notes are listed. And of course with their respective fingerings also. The Japanese note names, the Western note names. Now the way I'd use the Western note name usually is if I was going to transcribe a Western song or a note that, or a song that was written with conventional Western notation into shakuhachi notation. And I have shakuhachi notation fonts on this page of my website in order to help with that, with transcribing and writing music, writing out shakuhachi music. So I'll go back to my fingering chart here. Now, so say that I needed to find out what a G would look like in shakuhachi notation. And here you can see that it's this Nike-like looking slash here, or maybe that's backwards from Nike slash, I'm not really sure. And it also gives the fingering. Now, another feature that I added to this is that not all shakuhachi are the same length. I was finding that it took a long time for me to figure out when I picked up a shakuhachi that wasn't a 1.8 what notes it was supposed to be playing with what fingerings. And so say that you want to tune to an A. A lot of people like to tune their instruments to an A when they're tuning up and stuff. And so say that you're on a 2.0 flute rather than a 1.8. I'll select 2.0 there, and click Western note name A, and you can see that it's a Ha Chumeri right there. That's what the symbol looks like, and this is what the fingering is. And that's basically how I use my fingering chart. A longer flute all the way down to a 2.7. And you can see that a chi on a 2.7 sounds the Western note D. And I found this to be a very useful tool. I hope you do too.